Alright, this video is going to be a little bit different today than my usual videos on the modern folders. These are two traditional folders. These are the case knives that are in the green apple cover material that Case Knives came up with. Now, Case Knives is one of the oldest traditional knife companies in the US. They've been around close to, I believe, 130 years now, and they are still in the US. Everything's USA made, so you're still supporting a USA labor force, and these are handmade, not just in a factory line where like a machine makes it all. These are hand finished. So now they're not perfect, of course. When they're handmade, they have some flaws. You're not going to have always perfect centering, and there's going to be some imperfections, but that's kind of what you get with traditional knives. And when you look into traditional knives, it's a little different than looking into modern day tactical folders and whatnot. But I want to do a video on this because I think this green apple bone cover material that they came out with is pretty neat, and I only have 2 of them. There's actually 8 of them in the line. The full line includes a trapper. I think it's a full-size trapper, a small stockman, a small Texas toothpick. This is the Saddlehorn. Includes also a Sodbuster Jr., a stockman, which I believe is a medium-sized stockman, a large stockman, and then finally the Copperlock. So the 2 I have is the Saddlehorn and the Copperlock, which are 2 popular patterns from Case. Now, the Saddlehorn, I believe, was designed by Tony Bowes, who works over at Case, or he's a designer at Case. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. And then the Copperlock is more of a modern design. I think it was like 1990s, because it does have the locking mechanism. But it's based off of kind of the styling of of some of the traditional knives, and that's what you kind of learn about when you get into traditional knives, is that a lot of these designs have been around for a long time and they haven't changed much. Now, with the handle material and the traditional knife, you'd call it the cover material. You have, with this set, which I believe came out in 2016, and with Case Knives, you don't know how long they're going to keep each handle set, or cover set. So it's good to kind of jump on it if you really like it. And they do this with a lot of the bone material is jigging. So get a good look at that. And they're all a little bit different. So no 2 will be the same, and I believe this is cattle bone is what Case uses for the handle material or cover material for these. Now sometimes they use stag, and that looks a little different. But I think for their bone covers, it's normally cattle bone. And so for first, let's look at the Saddlehorn. So there you go. And you got the case shield. You got bolsters here. And for this particular Saddlehorn, you have 1 clip blade. So there's your finishing. You have a nail nick, and you can either use a nail nick, or I feel like you can also pinch this out. Which, let's compare. Here's another Saddlehorn. This has the, I think it's red bone, I believe it's called. I can't remember the exact name of that cover material. But this is how a lot of the Saddlehorns come, where you have a clip, but you also have a Skinner blade. So you have the 2 blade configuration. And for that, you can't really pinch out the clip blade because you have that Skinner blade in the front, so you have to use a nail nick for that. But I found with this one here, with the way it is single blade, you can actually pinch that out as well, which is pretty neat. So with this one, yeah, there's no lock, it's a slip joint, but you do have a half stop, so some of the case knives you don't. Something that you don't always expect, especially since these are, I wouldn't say budget, but these are not anywhere near the price of a Great Eastern cutlery slip joint, and all the Great Eastern cutlery seem to have half stops. So there you go. So that is the Saddlehorn. Let's look at the Copperlock. So this one's a little bit larger. And I like how that cover material, where you look at that, it kind of has the green in the middle where the jigging is, and it transitions into a yellowish green. Very, very nice and unique. Now this one has a long pull here, so you can kind of pull it the nail nick, or you can also pinch open this as well. So you also have that clip point blade. You get this very classic designs with case knives. This is the Copperlock. So let's kind of, get an idea of how big these are. I think everyone knows knife community, mini griptilian. This is the Doug Ritter one. M390 steel. So it's got the blade length about a mini griptilian for the Saddlehorn. A little bit shorter, of course. Then the Copperlock. There, a little bit longer, maybe. So yeah, these aren't huge knives, but they aren't really teeny as well. But yeah, they come in a stainless steel from Case, which I believe is close to 440. Not exactly sure. They call it, I think, Case True Sharp. Some of their knives also come in a CV steel, which should be closer to 1095. But these ones are the stainless versions. Now I don't have all the patterns that the green handle bone comes in, but there's also the different sizes of the Stockman. Now this is just a Case medium Stockman that I have. So you'd have a spay, a clip, and a sheep's foot. And those come in various sizes, a large, small, and the standard medium Stockman. Now I think the Trapper is a large Trapper, but this kind of gives you an idea of the Trapper pattern. This is in a Bermuda green jig bone. And the Trapper has a spay as well as a clip. This is a small Trapper, or I think they call it the small Trapper. They have, I think, 3 sizes of Trappers as well in Case. So with these are not very expensive. The average price of these is around $45 to $70. And for what you're getting, I think it's a good price. The Saddlehorn on the top here will come in at $66.98, so that one's a little closer to $70. And Saddlehorns seem to be a little bit more expensive. I think maybe it has to do with the Tony Bowes design. And then the Copperlock is going to come in at $55.98. So both of these are, under $100 for a knife that is handmade in the USA, and it's made by a company that has been around for over a century. And so the Saddlehorn's going to come in at 2 ounces, and the Copperlock, because of the locking mechanism, is going to come in at 2.8 ounces. So you have the half stops with the Saddlehorn. You're not going to have any half stop with this because it's a locking blade. But as you can see, it has that traditional, you know, lock back feature. But I think for, you know, the money, these are a great deal. And, you know, if you are new to traditional knives, case is a way to get started. A lot cheaper than buying Great Eastern cutlery, which Great Eastern cutlery is great, and I have other Great Eastern cutlery knives as well. But if you're just starting, this is a great way to start in traditional knives, because these are affordable. They're also great quality, and like when you run your fingers over the scales, or the covers to the bolsters here on the top here, you'd see that it's finished very well, and these are hand finished by workers in the factory. And this, you know, these are made out of is it Bradford, Pennsylvania, and so it's, you know, one of those places where they are still employing workers to hand finish knives. That's the same with Great Eastern cutlery as well, and if you want to check them out as well, they have great knives too. And that's one of the things about traditional knives. These are not made by machines completely. You know, they obviously use machines to press out the pieces to start, but these are hand finished, and usually you don't get hand finished for this kind of price. And for, you know, it's just, they're really neat. They're not, you're not gonna have, you know, quick, fast deploying blades like the Speed Safe system in Kershaw, or bearings or anything, but you're gonna get something that is handmade and has, you know, some history to it. The history of traditional knives, and just, you know, these knives that these kind of patterns and designs that have been carried for, you know, over 100 years. Just, it's neat to have. It's neat to pair this up with some of your modern knives. That's what I've been doing recently, is pairing it up, taking one of, not necessarily a mini Griptilian, but taking, you know, something like that and pairing it up with a traditional knife in my carry. And these are also, you know, a lot less intimidating to take out in public. I think more people appreciate and recognize the function of traditional knives. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video just showing this particular cover material, because, you know, with all of Case's cover materials, you never know how long they'll be around. And this set, which you could get all 8 if you want, I'll leave some links below to Knife Center, where I believe that they have all 8. But this particular set you could get, and you know, who knows how long they'll have the green apple, but I think it's a, you know, just great looking cover material there. And it's kind of hard to, you know, always describe it in the video, because when you see it in person, you realize just how neat that is. And the jigging is just really neat. When they do jigging with handles, it's really neat. So yeah, that's the Case knives, green apple cover handle material. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. Thanks for watching.